Yeah.
I mean, I've got like 1,000 different ones, but they're all Apple ones, so it's just for them.
Yeah, I can see fairly well, actually. I don't know, I've heard
Just figure out the controls?
just barely got it, so I think it would make sense. Alright, sucking gems in, I see that.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, it's left trigger for the attack team and right trigger to shoot.
Got it. Go to medicine.
So you're the developer. Could you tell us a little bit about the game that he's experiencing right now?
Yeah, it's like you're in a cockpit in a spaceship and you're flying down a tunnel or a trench or outer space or a lot of different environments. It's all procedurally generated, and you're trying to dodge obstacles, collect gems to increase your skill multiplier and go faster, and it's trying to get the highest score possible in the time limit. It's also kind of synchronized to the music. The background changes in time.
And then you hit stuff and you slow down in that sense.
Yeah, and when you hit stuff, you slow down. Individually, it's called Zone, with a Z, 0, and E.
And what's your name?
I'm Kelly, Kelly MacNeill.
Great. And are you with a studio?
Yes. Sorry. I'm with Pyro Muffin, which is just me, so yes.
Great. And how long did it take for you to build a game for this new DK2?
Switching or changing hardware, I worked seriously on porting this maybe 3 or 4 days.
Wow, that's not too long at all.
Well,
You already had it made though.
yeah, I already had like the whole game. I just had to like change it to the hardware, but it shouldn't have taken that long. If it was, it's using the same software developers kit, so like the upgrade should really be hassle-free, but it wasn't, and that's I guess not that great. All right, so this is Zone. Brought to you by Pixel Router VR and me. Pixel Router consists of me and James Andrew, which is another VR developer. He's in New Jersey right now, and he's out of vacation days, so that's why he's not here. But here in Spirit, right? So this is the DK2 version of Zone, which is a cool flying through space procedurally generated game thing. So I'm going to get started here. This is obviously not actually with the headset because it's on the projector behind us. But the goal is to fly around and shoot stuff and collect points. So there's a sweet soundtrack that you will be able to hear. But yeah, so this is
So talk us through it. What's going on in this shot right here?
So right now we are just trying to avoid obstacles, which are these like arches and cubes and pillars, and we are trying to shoot these checkered mines here because when we do, they explode and you get points if you can. Well, we missed it, but yeah. So like you'll see these little gems flying out, and if we put them in that circle, then we can suck them in, and that speeds us up and gives us more points. Makes the game more challenging as well.
So I know that we had this game developed for a prior version of the hardware. How is this game better with the DK2?
Well, with the DK2 you get positional tracking, which lets you sort of look around and gives you more comfort because if you make small head movements naturally, you have those translated into the game as well. And there's a lot of challenges with that because if you have like a human avatar, you have to actually make the human avatar respond in a similar fashion to your head movements, and that's, you don't get that for free. To do all sorts of neat tricks like translating the body according to how the head's moving, and if you don't have that inverse kinematic solver doing, everything you need out of the box, you've got to sort of do it yourself, which means you need like a model of how the neck actually moves relative to the head and stuff. So.
Now you said it took you about 3 days to get this to load well on the DK2. Could you tell us a little bit about that experience, Kelly?
Yeah, so porting to the DK2 was actually quite a hassle compared to using the DevKit 1 SDK. Because the way the display driver for the Oculus works now is Oculus handles the rendering itself, and instead of going through the Windows rendering system, at least that's what I think is going on. You can tell because if you move the game viewport after the game started, the viewport window moves, but the game stays in the same spot. So that's just like Oculus is doing some black magic there, which is makes it, I don't know, lower latency, but also much more difficult to work with, and hopefully they sort that out. Like if it was just as easy as using the SDK, or the first SDK, the port would have taken, I don't know, an hour instead of 3 days. So, I mean, maybe that's not super significant, but I've got a lot of other projects that I'm working on right now, so, I mean, any time that I can save is time to put to good use.
So if you had a wish list of all the things that they could do to improve the DK2, what would that wish list look like?
Well, the game is, we finished the sort of time attack portion, so we can continue this sort of the menu here. In terms of improvements that I'd like, well, we always want more resolution, higher refresh, wider field of view. Those are our fairly standard and fairly straightforward upgrades. It's just Moore's Law technology kind of stuff. Though we also need faster computers for all that stuff. Right now it's sort of pushing the limits of standard graphics hardware, in my opinion. Like the reason I brought my desktop is because it wouldn't run my laptop. And you really do have to get the right frame rate, or you really have to get the right frame rate. Sorry, you have to get the performance right, otherwise the experience is really, really disorienting and really unpleasant. It's juddery and nausea-inducing. It worked with the logo scene, but everything else was like turning around and it felt like we were teleporting in snow. In terms of like other features, we want things like some kind of tracking, body tracking, hand tracking solution. Gaze detection, I think, is going to be pretty important because of the performance implications. With gaze detection, you can do things like foveated rendering, which means that you're only rendering in high resolution where you're looking, because in the eye, in the fovea, which is a place where the optic nerves are, I don't know anything, everything in your periphery isn't very well perceived, I guess. So like rendering in low resolution doesn't matter. So you can sort of get higher resolution displays, but not render everywhere in high resolution, only where you're looking. And I think that sort of some way to circumvent this like enormous performance problem that we're quickly being faced with. So I think those are the things that we want. Will we get them? Who knows? Maybe eventually.
Well, you know, if they see this video, they'll have a heads up about what needs to be done, right?
Well, I'm sure they already know all these things and they're already working very hard on them.
All right, Kelly, thank you so much for previewing the Pixel Router VR game for us and telling us about your wish list.
Yep.
Thank you.
Cool.